You know that feeling, right? Someone asks how you're doing, and the first thing you say is, oh, I'm slammed, or just so busy. And there's this weird little part of us that almost feels proud of it, like being totally swamped means you're important, that you're in demand. Well, today we're going to break down this whole busyness trap.
And really, that's the big question here, isn't it? We wear our packed schedules like this weird kind of medal, a modern-day status symbol. But what's the actual price we're paying for being in this constant state of rush?
Well, the cost is absolutely enormous, and this isn't some small problem. We're talking about a staggering 77% of workers all around the world who said they felt burnout last year. That's not just a trend, that's a global epidemic of pure exhaustion. So, what on earth is driving it? To really get a handle on this trap, we first have to understand why it can feel so good to fall into it in the first place. Turns out, there's a very real psychological reason we actually get a kick out of being busy. It all kicks off with a little chemical you might have heard of, dopamine. See, every single time you cross an item off your to-do list or fire off an email or just finish some small task, your brain gives you a tiny hit of this feel-good chemical. It's a literal productivity high. And, just like any other high, it can become really, really addictive.
And this chart just shows you how deep our hatred of being idle really goes. There was this fascinating study where people were given a simple choice. You can either sit quietly with your own thoughts, or you can do some completely pointless busy work. And look at this. A huge majority, about 70% of people chose the busy work. We would literally rather do something meaningless than do nothing at all.
And it's not just what's happening inside our brains, right? Our whole culture basically pours gasoline on this fire because being constantly occupied has somehow become one of the most powerful status symbols out there today. I mean, think about it. We used to signal success with things, a fancy watch, an expensive vacation. But now, as this slide lays out so perfectly, we signal it with a lack of time. Bragging about how swamped you are is the new way of saying, hey, look at me, I'm important. And the numbers absolutely back this up. A clear majority of professionals, we're talking 62%, tie their feelings of self-worth at work directly to how busy they are. So the busier we are, the more essential we feel. But this is where the trap really starts to close in on us. Okay, so here's where we need to peel back another layer. Because while being busy can feel productive, a lot of the time it's actually serving another kind of darker purpose. It becomes a shield. So what are we really hiding from? This is the question we all have to ask ourselves. If our packed calendar is just a bunch of noise, what's the silence that it's trying to drown out? Well, a lot of the time, it's the hard stuff. As you can see here, we build a wall of tasks to avoid confronting difficult emotions. Stress, fear, loneliness. Or to sidestep problems in our relationships, or maybe to dodge those huge, scary questions about our own lives and what we're even doing here. Psychologists have a name for this. It's called avoidance coping. And look, running away like this has real, serious consequences. A Gallup poll found that employees who feel constantly busy are 2.5 times more likely to struggle with anxiety and depression. Running from our problems doesn't make them go away, it just burns us out in the process. And the cost isn't just professional, it's deeply personal. This statistic is it's sobering. The average working parent gets about 1 hour a day with their kids. And let's be honest, even that time is often fragmented, with us constantly being pulled away by our screens. Our busyness is costing us our most important relationships. Okay, so we see the problem. It's big. But how do we escape? The good news is that breaking the cycle doesn't mean you have to blow up your entire life. It really starts with just a few simple, intentional steps to take back your time. So here are 3 really powerful strategies. First, for just 1 week, become an auditor of your own time. Just notice what you're doing and ask yourself, is this task really essential, or am I just using it to avoid something else? Second, schedule stillness like it's your most important meeting. Block out just 10 or 15 minutes a day. No phone, no distractions, to just be. And finally, practice setting boundaries. Remember this, no is a complete sentence, and it's one of the most powerful tools you have. And let's be clear. The goal of these steps isn't to do nothing. It's about untangling that frantic knot of busyness and replacing that reactive way of living with a focused, intentional one. And what's the reward for all this?
Well, how about this? A recent Stanford study found that people who make a conscious choice to do less, to focus only on what truly matters, report a 25% higher level of life satisfaction. I mean, that is a massive payoff for just slowing down.
So, at the end of the day, what we're really talking about is shifting our whole definition of success. It's about making a choice to move beyond just chasing that temporary productivity high and instead start building a life that is genuinely fulfilled.
The core idea is really this simple. The true measure of a life well lived isn't how much you got done, but how much you were truly there for it. Being present, that will always beat being productive, every single time. So, I'll leave you with this one question. And take a moment to be really honest with yourself here. What is that one thing your packed schedule might be helping you hide from? Because answering that question, that's the first step out of the trap and toward a much more meaningful life.